Yeah, thanks. Hello, good morning. My name is Daniel Connolly. I'm the lead developer of Bitcoin SV, and I'm here to talk to you about Genesis and Teranode and the Bitcoin infrastructure in general. Before I talk about Bitcoin infrastructure, I should sort of describe what I mean by that. When we talk about software in Bitcoin, we generally split them into three layers. At the top is a business application that you may use, your business may need to do certain features. And it will, in general, rely on a set of services. Now, we've seen some services appear in the Bitcoin SV space, such as Unwriter's tools. We have the Handcash Connect that you're going to hear about this afternoon. Money Button has some services too. These are more, these present a common API to do common functions with Bitcoin. They can be very Bitcoin specific, such as send a transaction from here to there, or they can be more abstract, such as store this file on the blockchain. Okay, they provide different levels of capability that abstract away the details of the Bitcoin technology. These services rely on what I call the infrastructure. The infrastructure consists of the Bitcoin specification, how Bitcoin works, the node software, which is the Bitcoin SV node software right now, that collects transactions from around the world and confirms them into a block. It integrates with the mining equipment to confirm blocks, and then distributes those blocks as well. And then there's networking protocols that this software uses to talk to each other to ensure that transactions are propagated, the blocks are propagated, and things like that. This group together is what I call the Bitcoin infrastructure. Putting it back in that diagram again, you see how the upper layers depend upon this, right? And they depend upon it in several ways that I'm going to get into more detail later. You also see the Bitcoin specification is sort of highlighted there because it's special. Whereas the node software, the Bitcoin specification defines what, and the node software and network protocols just implement the what. Okay. Let me go. So, as you've heard already, last month we had the Genesis upgrade, and this is a huge step forward for Bitcoin SV. Because I'm going to talk about three main reasons why this was a big step forward and what it brings to the users of Bitcoin SV and the businesses that want to use Bitcoin SV. The first is stability. You've heard some of these terms already before me in the presentations before me. We do have a common view on the benefits it provides. So it's stability because it goes back to the original protocol. It uses the original rules that provide all of the capabilities that it needs. So we'll talk about capabilities in a minute. With stability, we don't build on shifting sands anymore. We build on a secure underlying structure. It provides businesses with what they need for the future. That some strange group of core developers is not going to change the protocol and ruin the features that they need for their business. With stability, going back to this diagram again, if this underlying layer is not stable, is not fixed, the upper layers will have significant issues every time it changes. If it changes on the 6-month schedule, the upper layers need to change to accommodate this. Your business applications will need to change. And that's why stability is so important to us. Competition is the next thing that Genesis enables. So this is partly a result of stability, right? If you have a stable protocol, then different teams, different software developers can implement software to that protocol. Like HTTP has been mentioned before, the Internet Protocol as well, TCP. There are many, many implementations of those specifications that all follow the specification, right? And the different implementations have different benefits and different costs, and you can choose between them. This is a capitalist competition. Sorry. And with Bitcoin SV, we see the same thing. We have already seen at minor levels, so some miners have been adjusting the software to give it the features that they need to mine the blocks that they need, because those features were not included in the node. That's like kind of at a small level, the miners adjusting the code to meet their needs. Last month, a new node software went into beta. This is a new piece of software. It's totally unrelated to N-chain, and it implements the node software for reading the blockchain primarily. It's not mining software yet. It might become in the future, but it promises massive scalability. It sounds exactly like what we're trying to do with Teranode, except they've gone off and done it themselves their own way. The stability of the protocol and the removing of the limits within the protocol enables competition at the software infrastructure layer. We can expect other node software, other infrastructure to start appearing, and this competition is healthy. It's good competition. It keeps us in N-chain on our toes, delivering our products, and the users of the system benefit because they have choices about which software to use. The third big benefit from the Genesis upgrade is the capability. So, the scalability, the capability brought by the original protocol. The original protocol had everything in it, everything that is possible. Scalability. The original protocol, the original definition had no limits on scale. There was no mention of 1 megabyte block cap. The way that the Bitcoin has been designed is eminently scalable. The block header is always 80 bytes, regardless of how large the block is. It has these features in it that just scream out about scalability. With scalability comes all of the other possibilities, such as really low transaction fees that you heard Jimmy talk about, you heard Steve talk about, all of the business uses that that microtransactions using those, because of those tiny fees that are enabled, and they're enabled because of scalability. Also, though, there is power. The Bitcoin specification contains a complete programming language. This language was neutered at one point. It was severely constrained about what it was possible to do with this language. The Genesis upgrade has released those constraints, has restored the language to how it was first designed, and has released the constraints on that language. Now developers can write incredibly complex transactions that do amazing things, okay? We can have tokens, we can have time lock contracts. You heard already Steve mentioned that the new opcode in Bitcoin Cash has already been implemented using script. You can have smart contracts of many different types. You can have CryptoKitties if you want, right? Not that I'm encouraging that, but that's certainly possible. This is an example of one of them which appeared recently. It looks complicated. This is actually the output of a compiler, right? That takes a smart contract language and produces a transaction that implements the contract that was specified in that language. So, the Genesis upgrade brought us, from my point of view, 3 main points, right? Stability, the protocol is not going to change anymore. competition at the infrastructure layer, and releasing the full capability of Bitcoin. Now, Teranode. So, the Bitcoin software, written in 2009, it implemented everything that was needed to get Bitcoin running, to start Bitcoin, to prove that Bitcoin works. And it was written in a way, from my point of view, I haven't consulted with Craig about this, but from what I can see, it is a proof of concept. It gave birth to the Bitcoin network. It started the Bitcoin network. It got people involved and contributing to it, and it changed, and it was modified, and it updated. But it is proof of concept software. It worked wonderfully. But now it's time to revisit that software, to look at it again with all of the experience we have from the last 11 years, with all of the discussions we can have with business users, what their needs are, to redesign the software, to re-architect it, and to write new software for the infrastructure that can handle the scale, that can handle the huge transactions, using modern computing paradigms, big data approaches to solve this problem and mine massive blocks. This is what Teranode is. This is the name of our project. It's redesigning Bitcoin infrastructure. We have started at the beginning, so we've identified stakeholders. We've identified the different types of users who would need to use the Bitcoin infrastructure software. We've gathered requirements. We've talked to these groups of users. We've designed an architecture, and then a design from the architecture. And the next stage we're working on right now is to design how we are going to transition the Bitcoin SV node software into this new design. So during these stages, we did not compare it immediately to the Bitcoin SV node software because we wanted to start from scratch. We wanted a completely new view on it with all of the experience we have and without the baggage of the previous software. But that previous software is not baggage that holds us back. That previous software is an asset. We have a huge team of, say, 40 software developers who know that software in and out. So we want to make use of those resources, that expertise, that software, and we want to move that software into a Teranode design. But the Teranode design is not a monolithic architecture. The Bitcoin original software is a single program that did everything. It had a GUI in it, it had a wallet in it, it had all sorts of functions that any possible user could want. The Teranode architecture is aimed at specific use cases for a huge network, a scaled network. It is a microservices architecture that can be configured to suit particular business needs. In some circumstances, some components may be more necessary than others, or may be completely optional. For a miner may not need to run this particular service that is very useful to a payment processor. And this will all be configurable in Teranode. Teranode, we will be focusing on scalability, so increasing the capacity of the blockchain, as you've seen in previous slides, running towards eventually the full 1 terabyte block. But it'll also be focusing on integration with existing business systems or with those services layer that you saw in the first slide, to enable other services to build upon the Bitcoin infrastructure layer and make full use of the scaling capabilities of Bitcoin. that is all I had to say about Teranode. I am a bit short, but that's good because the others are a bit over. So thank you very much, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.